What is your favorite franchise? It's a difficult subject for me. Phoenix Wright is amazing despite its flaws. Kingdom Hearts is my childhood. But I never expected Medieval Girl fighting a thriller skeleton to be a franchise. Truth be told, I thought Crypt of the NecroDancer was going to be a one-off thing. And yet, we got a spin-off. And while that is not a sequel, Rift of the NecroDancer is. So that begs the question, is the franchise NecroDancer really good? Or was it always a flop from the very beginning? Well, brace yourself! Grab your server, make sure you don't steal your heart, and bash some skulls, because today we're going to be talking about the 3 NecroDancer games. So, just that we are in the same page, we're going to talk about 3 games in question. Crypt of the NecroDancer, Cadence of Hyrule aka NecroDancer crossover with Link to the Past, and the newest game as of uploading this video, Rift of the NecroDancer. I'm also putting some life story here and there because this is a good opportunity to talk about them as they are related to the game and or the team behind it. With that out of the way, let's start from the beginning. When I first heard about Crypt of the NecroDancer, I was immediately hooked by the rhythm roguelike concept. Funny enough, I didn't even know what roguelike was. I just thought fighting monsters and dwelling in dungeons to the music beat sounded so cool that I wanted to try it out myself. I waited and waited and waited, and when the pre-order was live, there was 2 versions I could pre-order, Base and Deluxe. I forgot what the difference between these 2 were, but from what I remember, Deluxe, you also get the digital soundtrack with it. Now, I originally pre-ordered the base version, but after an hour or 2, I was like, you know what? I want the Deluxe version. So I contacted the customer support saying, hey, can I pay the remaining amount just to upgrade it to Deluxe version, yada yada yada. I was originally gonna expect a no from them because upgrading might be complicating the system, yada yada. And you know what? Sucks to be me, I still got a base, whatever. And this was the time when I was a broke student as well, so I only had enough money to upgrade it, not to, buy a new pre-order and whatnot. I'm gonna remember this for the rest of my life because I got an email with their reply and they said, no need, we have upgraded it for you for free. If that's not a way to get a loyal customer, I don't know what is. And when the game came out, I was immensely hooked again. It came out as beta version. This was, I think, before around Steam Early Access was even a thing. I played the game and they kept releasing new updates frequently. But the game is fully released with bunch of DLCs. So the question is the game good? I'm happy to report, yes it is. This game aged like a fine wine. Things that makes roguelike even today, this game still puts a solid foundation of learn from your mistake and try again. Of course, there's items that make the game easier per se, better weapons, better enchantments, armor, spells, you get the idea. But with all that considered, I can say with utmost confidence that this is the most hardest roguelike game I have ever played. Period. There's a lot of characters in this game, but for the sake of time, we're gonna focus on 4 characters. Cadence, the main protagonist of the game, Melody, and this we'll get back to that later. And finally, Nocturna, character from the DLC, Amplified. The reason why we are focusing on these four is because these are the characters that have story in the game behind them. For what we got, the story is pretty decent for a roguelike. Don't expect a masterpiece or anything, but for what lore there is, I say it's pretty well made. So kudos on that. The story is pretty simple. Cadence tried to find her missing father, fell in the crypt where she died, but the NecroDancer stole her heart, reviving her in the process. And now she needs to dive deeper to not only get her heart back, but to find answers to unsolved questions. I'm trying to keep this as vague as possible because I don't want to spoil too much if able to. So you have to take my word for it when I say I am satisfied for the story and the ending we got, and I have no objection with it. One note, besides the DLC Amplified, you need to unlock other characters via story mode. So Cadence unlocks Melody, Melody unlocks her, and the base story is complete. And please, if you're thinking about beating the story mode, do it before buying Amplified. And if you already bought the whole bundle before doing so, oh, may Lord have mercy on your soul, because this game won't. The game premise is simple. You move to the beat. You can't half time, quarter time, or whatever. It needs to be on the beat. They do give you some leeway as long as you are getting the vibe of the music, but if you are too offbeat, then the game will consider a misbeat, which not only lose the combo multiplier, but enemies will have extra turn to move towards you, and worse, damage or kill you. Combo multiplier is useful for multiple things, but it's essentially good for getting more kills via kill to buy stuff in the shop, and a certain enchantment that helps you do more damage or lit the room brighter, etc. etc. You have 4 zones, 5 if you bought the Amplified DLC. Each zones have 4 floors and finally a boss fight. Each floor has a mini boss you need to kill before heading to the next floor. Failure to kill mini boss before music runs out, or if you fall into the trapdoor before killing the mini boss, you will be trapped in a small room and cannot escape until you kill the mini bosses. Yes, bosses first. I think I explained the premise of this game pretty well, but if I had to make it more simple, go down, kill bosses, win. And yes, I could explain all the items and what it does, yada yada, but I think it would be more fun to explore and figure it out yourself. With that said, there is a learning curve in this game, especially when using items. You have to press 2 buttons at the same time to use items or spell. Up plus left, down right, up plus down, etc. etc. When using item, you're also halted in the same place, but you don't lose your combo. So keep that in mind when using them. Which leads me to the main point. The game is hard. It took me weeks to even beat Cadence story mode, and I was playing it every day. It doesn't help that this was either my first or second roguelike. It's a contest between this and Binding of Isaac. I forgot which I played first. Melody was easier because her weapon is pretty much approach AoE. She won't be able to change her weapon, mind you, but the weapon is already pretty good, so But then comes this woman, Ariel. Just the name itself made a lot of people scream in agony. Ariel is the third character you need to beat the story mode. Her condition is, you cannot miss even one beat. If you get hurt even once, you lose, and you cannot change your weapon at all. You are stuck with a dagger. This character was so difficult that the devs needed to add a life potion as her base set just for you to get one more chance. In other words, 2 mistakes and you're out. And the best part, the absolute despairing part of this character, you start at Zone 4. Zone 5 if you have Amplified DLC. A moment of silence for everyone who bought the Amplified DLC before beating the base game.
Now a moment of laughter.
Hi, future Maxim here. So, I kind of figured out two things after recording the whole video and whatnot. One, you don't start at Zone 5. You can still start at Zone 4. Zone 5 is basically considered an extra zone, a bonus zone, you could say. So, you can still start at Zone 4. And even if you don't consider that, you can disable DLC from the game. Like, there's a whole option for it. So, I am sorry that I was laughing at your face. Please don't let me bring out my ukulele. Starting in the hardest zone in this game is satanic. In the story, it makes sense why, but it's still a massive jerk mode. But I did it. Only once, but I freaking did it. It took me 2 years. 2 freaking years just to beat Zone 4. But I freaking did it. And the cherry on top, I beat the story mode weeks later.
Ooh, I beat Jump King. Ooh, I beat Dark Souls. I beat Ariel's story mode. Get on my level, you scrub. On a complete side note, have you considered subscribing to this channel? This scrub... Things I do for YouTube, goddammit.
Funny enough, Zone 3 took me like 2 months, Zone 2 couple of weeks, and Zone 1 just few days. So you can imagine how difficult Zone 4 was. And despite all that, it made me love this game.
This game is not for everyone. For example, there is a mode called All Dungeon Mode where you had beat all the 4 or 5 zones in one life. There is also low percent of that. Well, you cannot pick up any items, weapons, spells, only coins in the low percent run. So what the base character has, that's all you get. And worst of it all, there is a worst character, Koda. For those who don't know, Koda, you have double the speed tempo, you have the only weapon, the dagger, you cannot pick up any coins, and you cannot miss even a beat or you die. And you can't even get hit once or you die. And now imagine that with all dungeon mode and low percent mode.
Correction, Koda doesn't have any low percent runs, including the achievement lowest of the low. I thought there was. Can someone correct me whether that was a thing and the devs removed it, or was I wrong from the very beginning? Please let me know in the comments below. Anyways.
Last time I remember, there was only 20 people who has 100%ed this game. At least legitly. And the thought that there is only double digit, half of a 50. That's a very, very scary thought.
The DLC character Nocturna is basically a prequel to the base game's lore, but I still heavily recommend playing the base game first, because Zone 5 and, well, it makes more sense to beat the base and understand why such and such happened because of the DLC. 2 more things. 1. There are online multiplayer lobbies, but it's not the greatest. If you want to mess with friends, go ahead, but don't buy the DLC Synchrony just for that. You also need the DLC for that, but I digress. And 2, you can also use your own music in the game and jam with it. So having the option to do so is pretty cool.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's also a lot of other characters I haven't mentioned, especially in the Synchrony and Hatsune Miku DLC. Yes, Hatsune Miku DLC is a thing. No, I don't know why. But I will say this. Each character has their quirks for positive or negative. And it's up to you to dabble around it and such. Truth be told, I haven't dabbled in these characters myself. I was thinking of doing a Twitch stream of doing a whole marathon of all the characters. But let me know in the comments below if you would be interested in watching that or not. But despite all that, I still haven't talked about one of the best things about this game. The presentation.
Let's talk about the obvious. The music in this game is amazing. The disco vibe while making sure you survive the intensity of do or die movement is so rewarding. Call me basic, but I really love the Zone 1 tree music. I mean, listen to it.
But that's not even the best part. Oh, if you're near the shopkeeper, he starts singing opera. He starts singing opera, and it sounds such a banger. Listen to it.
Music aside, I really like the characters gearing up when you have certain items. This was a new touch since the last time I played a game. I knew there was couple beforehand, but seeing it fully fleshed out looks pretty cool and also helps to focus on the characters and what they have rather than checking the items around the UI screen and whatnot. Finally, the cutscenes reminds me of those old flash animations in Newgrounds. It feels medieval picture book animation of sort. I don't know. Could be better? Yeah. Do I still like it? Absolutely.
I highly recommend this game, but only if you want a challenge, because it's gonna take a lot of skills to beat the game, let alone to complete it. But it is really rewarding to do so. And yes, this game has some flaws, but I don't mind them if it means that I could bass and jam with the music. Alright, let's talk about the next game. And it's a game nobody expected. How?
Nintendo giving an IP for a game is crazy already. For an indie team is a whole new level of craziness. And yet, here we are, Cadence of Hyrule. This game is basically Crypt of the NecroDancer and Link to the Past crossed over. The story is simple. Cadence got teleported to this world and now she is trying to find her way to teleport back home. Unfortunately, the world is in chaos because of a villain, Octavo, putting many high-ranked and powered to sleep, including Zelda and Link. Now it's up to you to beat Octavo, wake up Zelda and Link, and head home.
Again, the story took a back seat here, but honestly, I don't mind. I mean, at least it's better than having a story that was supposed to be really good, but then actually flopped really badly, and because of that, the other two, like gameplay and mechanic, also flopped lowly because of it, and then there's also glitches and launch date and everything. I mean, what kind of game would even try to do that, right? Right?
With that said, the gameplay is pretty much the same. Yes, you need to kill monsters with the beat. However, this time the multiplayer helps with regaining stamina that can be used for magic and such, getting better items and money chance, and gain better damage because of a certain enchantment. However, after you beat every enemy in a certain area, you can walk around freely, unshackled to the beat. This is actually so useful because there's puzzles you need to take care of in some areas, and doing it while keeping to the beat would have been really annoying to do so. The maps are also generated randomly each game, so items, dungeon areas, and so on are all randomized. Some things are left unchanged, the bosses, how to unlock these characters, yada yada yada, but essentially everything else is randomized, which might be a problem. See, I got every item but 2. I just couldn't get them no matter how much I tried or did try. I think I needed items from each other to unlock them, but I just couldn't, which sucks. Credit where credit is due, there are multiple ways you can solve some puzzles. Summon blocks or killing slimes to hop into next area is one example of such. It's just sometimes this happens and that's annoying. Unless I'm missing how to do this puzzle properly, yeah. Presentation in this game is pretty swell as well. I will say I do like the artwork for this one over Crypt of the NecroDancer, and I still like they kept the picture book-like animation for this. And finally, the music. Let's be honest here, the music is still a banger. I really like the melody of Zelda and NecroDancer being mashed together, and it feels oh so cool. And that electric guitar, God, I love it. Also, Shopkeeper is here because of course he's here.
There's also 2 story modes, one of which is after you beat the main game, you unlock October mode. Basically the villain side of the story, how he got to power in the first place. I mean, besides the cutscenes and some text here and there, the gameplay is pretty much identical from what I've played, so take what you will with that. And then there's the DLC, Symphony of the Mask, where you play as Skull Kid in... How do I explain this without spoiling the game? You play in a corrupted environment, so the monsters and such are more stronger and whatnot. Now, I have only dabbled with each of these for like 3-4 hours for each story mode, so I haven't beaten the game yet. So you have to take it as a grain of salt when I say I like it and I have fun, and I think you'll enjoy it as well. With that said, there's also other modes like the puzzles, dungeon driving, which is basically dungeon mode only, and area mode. Of course, there's area mode. Thing is, there's a lot of things and they are fun. I have tried them, and while I have not completed or, beaten some of them, I still enjoyed what I did.
With that said, Cadence of Hyrule is an amazing game, a great spin-off for not only Rift of the NecroDancer, but for Link to the Past as well. I highly recommend playing this game.
Alright, one last game, and this is not a spin-off, but a sequel. I never expected this game to come out, but it did, and it took a lot of risk.
You know what's the scariest thing about a franchise is? It's the fact that the sequel might suck. And Rift of the NecroDancer was doing everything that would risk being good. From a serious tune to comedy, from roguelite to a rhythm game. And worst of all, we waited 10 years for this sequel.
And yet, they still played their cards. I have to put a big disclaimer here. The following game, Rift of the NecroDancer, was provided free from the devs, Brace Yourself Games. I did buy the supporter pack and the soundtrack, digital soundtrack, by my own money, but the base game was provided free from the devs. However, everything I say is my opinion and my opinion alone. With that said,
this game is fun, and I am happy to report the sequel doesn't suck. You would think that the vibe of the game would just crash because of comedic and whatnot, but it just makes sense. How NecroDancer became a minimum wage fast food walker, how Dove is now a yoga teacher because of course he is, and how the minigames are.
Zoom in for the close-up.
There. I'll take 20 by the way. And the rhythm game still has that element from the last game. Monster has the same health and pattern, and difficulty can be hard to master.
what they did is they made a game, but instead making a familiarity with the mechanics, they made a familiarity with the characters. They changed the whole core idea. And I applaud them for this because despite all the cards that was stacked against them, they made it work.
Let's start it off with the story here. Cadence and her friend were teleported to a new modern world where things are, well, modern. I'm seeing a certain theme here. So, after a month of trying to find out what is going on, Cadence found her friend, Dove, and tried to connect dots. However, monsters keep spawning from the rift and you had to keep passing them out. It's up to you to find out who is behind this, stop the rift, and get back home. Once again, the story isn't the main thing here, but it is the most we got out of the 3 games, so I will say this. It's pretty decent for what we got. I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious and you can forte here and there, but it was still fun to watch and interact with it. Could it be better? Yeah. Am I complaining it isn't? Nah. The presentation, however, is probably the best one out of the 3. I really like the art styles they went with this game. A bit of a bias, but I think this art style fits the NecroDancer vibe really well. Cadence and her friends looks amazing and I love how each represents what they are. Cadence being hot-headed and reckless fits her attire, Nocturna being elegant and mature looking, and other characters as well. Speaking of, I love they gave more characteristic with the characters. Blacksmith aka, how do I say this? Hephaestus? Hopefully I said that name right. It's just an anxiety ball, while Millen is an optimistic pun witch, which Candace can barely handle her pun, lol. My only complaint is that I wish we saw more characters in this game because it does feel teensy bit limited, but for what we got is still cool. And honestly, I just can't wait to meet them again in later games. And of course, the music is still a banger. Of course, there are some I prefer over the others, but with 30 plus music, plus 3 more because of Super Meat Boy collab the very next week of release day. No, I'm not joking when I say that. Just a scene as I was editing this video. Celeste music is in the game. 3 of them is a downloadable DLC, while 1 of them is a free content update. And Pizza Tower DLC has been announced at the same time. What the hell, brace yourself? That is amazing, but it's only been around a month. Calm down. Continue. There should be music for everyone.
For me, I'm a simple man, and I like on. And the best part? Shopkeeper mode is a thing. And yes, he still sings opera. Sing it!
Look, brace yourself games. All I'm asking is that you release the Shopkeeper version OSTs. Because goddammit, we need it now!
Which leads me to the gameplay, and it's pretty awesome. Yes, there are some hiccups.
Let's talk about the positive first. I love the gameplay. Having monsters being different hit patterns makes it so challenging, and having off beats, aka Diamond being half beats and Star being 16 beat, makes it more charming and fun to get the groove with. I really like they put the shadow below the monster. I think in the beta demo, they didn't have that, so it was really confusing. I'm glad they made it better here. Best part is, you can still play this game with a DDR. Sadly, my DDR broke, and buying DDR is expensive. Well, not even available in Nepal. So, look away for a moment, guys, and there we go. And oh, look how amazing I am, guys! Totally elite skill. Don't worry about that channel's name on the bottom left. Totally irrelevant.
I am just that cool, yo.
The inputs are pretty simple as well. Left, right, and down, and then also up to press all 3 keys at the same time. You can inverse up and down as well if it makes it easier for you. Technically, the game wants you to play like this, but I instead play like this since it's much easier, as I have played other games like Osumania and DJ Max Respect V, like so. And also amp mode, basically doubling the combo multiplier, and you don't lose health during this power-up. But you will still lose your combo multiplier, so do be careful on that. There's also the mini game mode, which is also, for lack of better words, cute in its own way. Just Cadence doing yoga, or making burgers, or slapping the mobile away because you're doom scrolling instead of watching my video. It's short, but I like they added it as an extra mode. I wish we had more minigames, but I digress. And finally, boss fight. Basically dodge all the enemy or enemies and hit them in the right time. Simple and sweet. I will say play the story mode before any other game mode because you will play all the music, minigames and boss fights as you progress, and you will also enjoy the story, besides the collab music and whatnot.
So there's a lot of positive in the gameplay department. But there are still some hiccups. Most notably, the practice mode and the accuracy.
Practice mode sucks. There's this one being the whole bar thing which you have to set up, which is annoying to use. Yes, it helps when you want to practice specific patterns, but it takes time to just set up and The way Rocksmith 2014 does is still my favorite, unless they patronize that mechanic, which would be stupid and dumb, but let's be honest here, by recent news and whatnot, that could very well be a reality. The another problem I have with this is the load time. You first do the combo, then there's the loading time, then the animation startup, and then the countdown, and then you wait, and then you play, which is time consuming, especially if you want to practice the same thing over and over and over. Practice mode is essential because there's some maps I need to slow down and learn how to do it and then speed it up little by little. But the way how practice mode is designed, I don't even want to touch it.
And then comes the accuracy, which I don't know what is wrong. See, for example, let's say that this is the accuracy bar, and right in the middle, that middle is perfect. Absolute perfect. No late, no perfect, 0 millisecond exactamonto. Overall, my accuracy system in other rhythm games is around here, which isn't perfect, but it's pretty good. In Rift of the NecroDancer, for some reason, it's around here. And that is more off than it should be.
I had to ask myself if the off play was because of me, the game, or my keyboard. Because my keyboard isn't the greatest for rhythm game per se. Corsair K55 for those who are interested. So, I bought a new keyboard that will solely be used for rhythm gaming. This is Wooting HE+. I bought this because a lot of rhythm game pros says it is one of the best keyboard out there for, well, rhythm games. I played with the keyboard and my accuracy is still not there as I'm still getting used to the keyboard and whatnot. I have dabbled with other games as well and it works fine. But then I tried with Osumania and I was still having the same accuracy problem. And then it finally hit me.
Note speed.
Note speed is pretty much just that. How fast does each note drop from start to finish? This is usually used to seeing less or more notes. In my case, I am seeing less notes. In musical terms, I'm seeing one note bar ahead, like typical sight readers does. This can also be used for accuracy and reacting to said notes. While one can complain you are cheating because your timing can be more loose, it's not. 1. While timing can be loose, if even, not much as much people think they do. We're talking about 1-2 milliseconds here, 3 at most, and that is even considering if it got loose. It's usually 0. It's more to do how you perceive when you hit the notes. Because for me, games like DJ Max Respect V, it's usually just when the note hits the line. So slowing the note speed could butcher the timing because the note could just be 1 pixel off from when I press because I perceived it differently. And even then, I still have off timing if I press too fast or slow. Note speed is there to make the player comfortable and not be overwhelmed with too many notes. Or too little, like who the hell plays like this? Even if you don't agree with me, note speed is there for everyone. So using a tool that is provided by the game can't be considered cheating, now can it? Rift of the NecroDancer doesn't have no speed, so you're stuck with the same speed no matter what. Which works for some players, but might not for some. I am one of them. What I did was manually change the video audio offset, and it seems to be more accurate for me. Auto calibration tests can be unreliable in this game, so do manual if you're still having some hiccups. Also, there's no proper setting changes in videos department, no FPS changes, VSync, etc., which is so bizarre to not have, especially for a rhythm game. I don't want to end this with a low note, so I want to add one more thing here. Rift of the NecroDancer has themed workshop, which allow players to make community music maps and others to try them out. This was a fantastic idea because sometimes I just want to try new music, and having themed community as an option is a fantastic idea. Rift of the NecroDancer needs some fixes in some elements, but with amazing sequel, amazing music, and a great story and presentation, I highly recommend playing this game. It is so great. And yeah, that's all the 3 NecroDancer games we have so far. I am quite happy that none are bad whatsoever. Yes, some of them need some fixes here and there, but overall, they're really good. And I cannot wait to see more future games from Brace Yourself and in the NecroDancer franchise that I could groove with. But for now, I'll groove for what we have. Hit it!